Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Fuel Cult. This is our holiday spectacular. To my right-hand side, we've got Mr. Patrick Tackett. Wave
Hi,
hi.
everybody. Happy
Yeah, as you can see
holidays.
from his plaque that you can't see
Yes.
because I'm
Oh,
pointing. Yeah, right there, his plaque. And
I
then
didn't steal that from a job.
then over here, we've got Mr. Joe Cariotti.
I'm here and I'm on Chris's left side.
Yes, you are. Depending upon which way you look at it and which way I look at it. And up is down and left is right and BA and
Hot snow falls
BA is
up.
start.
So, yeah, welcome
Yes.
to the show.
So this is our first episode post SEMA. I apologize about the gap in coverage. I have been dying post SEMA. I got some sort of an illness there, but I think that's mostly from licking escalator handles. So
It's usually how you get it in Vegas.
yeah, it's that, and accumulating the coffee from the bottom of people's cups because I didn't want to pay for it myself.
How many people are usually at SEMA? What's the rough count of that?
I think we're looking at 70,000 ish.
In the course of 4 days.
I'm pretty sure Chris shook everybody's hand. That's how he got it. So
there's a lot of it. Yeah,
it's nice to have you back in the land of the living, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even then, it's still been. I've had this just cough that's kept me up, but luckily, we're going to make it through this episode now because I'm not coughing at the moment. So,
yay!
Joe, you had prepared an exercise for us. It's kind of a fun starter for the, a fun kind of cap to the end of the year. Could you elaborate?
Yeah. So my idea here was we all get together and kind of pick from a different car segments and try to see who can get closest to 2,000. I had to write this down because it's hard to say. 1,900 bucks, or 201,900. Who can you ever get closest to that with a garage of cars, a stable of cars, not counting a hypercar? That's kind of a free.
Yeah, that one's just a wish thing.
So yeah, everything from the list started at microcar or K car, subcompact, midsize, full size, minivan or van, sports car, SUV, pickup, and then hypercars. Basically, just potpourri. You can pick whatever you want.
Well,
yeah, just for shits and giggles.
That's the thing, though, is that a hypercar you can't even do it for that kind of money.
No,
but that was running through my head. I'm like, what? Where do you even if the limit was $1 million, you could chew up all of that with one hypercar,
one singular purchase
easily, and not even get the full hypercar. You could buy.
No, you still have to make payments for it.
So yeah, so I'm excited to kind of go through and see where everybody's head is at after this year of 2019. So the rule I made to myself was all the cars had to be like priced within the year, so 2019. But that's not like a hard and fast rule. But I grabbed all of my picks off of basically eBay Motors, Bring a Trailer. That's pretty much it.
Okay. Yep. Mine were a lot off of Carfax. We did Bring a Trailer, and then as many like used Craigslist sales as I could get, just to be as cheap as possible, because I went the route of, if I could have a car in budget in this section, that's going to be the one I'm going with. So we'll see how Chris views these choices.
Mine come out of my head because I'm really bad at show prep because I was preoccupied with other things beforehand.
We'll figure out this whole show prep thing some other time. I really wanted to get a holiday special out in 2019. So
okay, so why don't Joe? Why don't you kick it off? What did you pick?
So for the micro car, I picked a 1990 Honda Beat that I found for $5,001. So I went full, like I was thinking micro car, and that's basically, I think, like anything smaller than like a Fiat 500 or something like that. So
I might even call a Fiat 500 a micro car.
I was going to call that a micro car because that falls in that same department of like a smart car or something that's really meant for just making it in and out of town.
So yeah, that was my pick. Was this I found it on Bring a Trailer. It was $5,001, and it is red. It's a Honda Beat. It's basically all the other K cars to me have odd proportions, even like the AutoZam or whatever. But this is just
ugly car.
Yeah, the Honda Beat's great. So that's my pick.
Okay.
With 44 pounds of torque and and 20,000 kilometers on it. There it is. No crumple zones needed. You are the crumple zone. Honda Beat is my pick, my offering for 5,000.
Mine is a Citroen DS3 for 9,000. So a little bit pricier, but at the same time, it falls under that same Ford Fiesta, has a little bit nicer build to it. Peppy and to get through town. And if you really wanted to, you could be dumb and chuck a giant engine in the back seat right over the rear wheels.
So why'd you go with Citroen? Because you couldn't get it in the US? It was exotic?
Part of that, yeah. I figured if we're making our own garage, we should have something that we don't normally get our hands on.
If you're going for one French hot hatchback, why not go with like the Renault Megane?
Well, it was an argument. Which one did I want to go with? And I just had a feeling that the Citroen had a little bit more torque from the experience that I've had with them.
How about a VW Polo? A Polo GTI is pretty good too.
Same thing. VW was almost on my list a couple of times through this. So,
and
that is my offering.
I was actually trying to find in this category Citroen C3, and because they make a racing. They make a racing version of it, like a C3 GT something. It's like the Suzuki Swifts and things like that.
Exactly.
I was literally looking for that for my pick.
Well, I believe both Citroen and Renault, you can get body and white cars for factory racing programs for both variants because the French do really good hot hatches.
They do. Honda does too. Toyota and Honda, you can get one stripped out as well, but Citroen and Renault were the ones where you could really just get nothing but a tub.
Yeah, I actually had the honor of having a somebody. It wasn't even a C3. It was a C1, the tiniest little thing. I had a semi-pro race driver take me around Zandvoort in one, and that was just like such an insane experience. It actually, I was like, you know what? Maybe front-wheel drive cars are still cool. Like it brought me back into thinking of them.
I had a race car driver drive me around Zippity Doo in a 1, 2, 3, 4, but as well. I mean, it sounds like a real sentence.
It's a real thing, I swear.
All right, Chris. Would you like to add one as well? What do you got?
So I have of two minds on this. There is, I of course have my Fiesta ST, which was a fantastic little car once the electrical demons had been sorted, and those were some hellish demons. That's for damn sure. That car.
I personally don't like those cars. Like, I get them; they're nice, they're fun, but I personally do not enjoy them.
It's because you're wrong, Patrick.
Probably. I'll get that a lot in my life.
You know what, Patrick? I like them. They're great, but they're not my favorite in the class.
No,
I got
always. If you go to a variant in a class, Joe's always going to go with the least desirable option by everybody else's.
Ooh, I'm going to challenge you on that list.
Well, I don't know, man. Like we'll see.
I got some good.
List.
I've got two options on mine, and I'll tell you which one I settled on though. So I've had the new 3-cylinder Fiesta, which is fantastic. The Suzuki ST, or the other option was the Suzuki Jimny, the new Jimny.
Yeah,
that's a good pick too.
Yeah, that is good. But could you get it in a price range again? That
so
runs?
Wait, I'm going to run a live tally here because I have an Excel sheet open, and so how much is that one going to cost you, Chris?
Which one?
The whatever one you pick.
Yeah, which you picked the.
So I'm actually going to go with the ST just because they're so fun.
Okay,
and that's USD. I mean, we don't have USD pricing because it's not going to hit this market.
Just euro it a little.
You just sold one, so you know how much you could get one for one, roughly.
If it hit the U.S. market again, it'd probably be in the 25K range. That'd be about where it would be, because that's what the last one was. So
that's a substantial chunk of your budget on one car, though. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but you'll see where I'm going with this. So,
Patrick, how much does yours cost?
$9,000.
$9,000. All right. All right. Numbers are entered. So far, Chris is leading the way with $25,000.
Oh, I have no problem spending money, as you both know.
Yes, yeah. My car cost $5,000.
Right, exactly.
All right. So the next category here was the subcompact category. So things like, I would say Focus and Golf, something like that size. So what do you guys
I
pick?
did not do that.
What was your subcompact then?
So originally I had something along those lines, but in my research, people were listing other cars, better cars in this department. So I went with an Evo 10 GSR.
You son of a bitch. I knew you were going to do that.
Because I owned one. I loved it. It was a great all-arounder as just something you can drive and have fun with. And apparently I could get one for $14,300 right now.
All right. Well, I believe you. I'm not going to check into that, so you guys can lie about the pricing, but just let's keep it fun.
I have a search history.
We didn't say
like
what condition it was in for the price.
Right, exactly. So.
Yeah,
I got one holes in it, but I can get it for $14,300.
I can't wait for you guys to. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Chris, what are you thinking in the subcompact category?
In the subcompact category, again, it was a little torn between a Golf R. The current generation, but in the used market, they're several years old now. So they're dipping down into, 21, 22. However, it dawned on me there is a car in that segment, very similar to Patrick's choice, that is actually going to go up in value versus the Evo 10.
Yeah.
And that is the Evo 9, which can currently be had in a very nice condition around $18,000.
I debated with the Evo 8. I had both next to me, and it was a matter of, which one I thought was technically a better build quality for the actual car.
I mean, build quality on those cars were kind of like, we're really stretching in the idea of the build quality in general.
But I totally understand going with a 9 because it makes sense. The 8 and 9 are both, even if they're beat up, they're going to be worth more money.
The 9MR specifically is a relatively low run car, and I think that in terms of the collectible Japanese market, I think that once we get past this super thing, and once people stop lusting over Integras, I think the Evo 9s are most likely ones to start shooting through the roof.
I think you're right. I think that and SVXs for sure. My pick for the subcompact category is actually a very traditional pick. It is a Golf R. There's just no way around to find a
bulletproof.
Used. Yeah, I was like, I'll spend $25,000 on a used, 2017, 2018 Golf R. And I found one on eBay. So that's my pick, because I was like, I'm looking at my garage and I'm like, man, if this was my garage, I need something reliable and good that I could actually drive around in. So this was part of my stable of all right, that's going to be kind of an everyday driver car in this thing. But I think it is hilarious that both of you guys went with different versions of Evos, but also really good picks because, you have a whole garage. This is going to be your guys' project area. Right?
Originally, like I said, I was going to go with something that was closer to a Civic or something along that line. But because they technically pull up Subarus and Evos in that category, I figured if I'm going to do it, I might as well pull the trigger there.
See, I figured the Golf R is the best pick there because it's seriously the best all-around thing. You can do anything with that car.
I really like that car.
Yeah, I actually really like that car.
And they have a good personality. They're good places to be in as a driver, and they'll get you from point A to point B as quickly as they can.
The only thing that sucks is if you put a lot of miles on it, they will fall apart because it's a VW, product. So
any German car, yeah, you know how it goes.
Well, except for one manufacturer.
Oh yeah, you and your silver spoon over there.
Chris, how much can you get an Evo 9 for, real quick?
How much can you get an Evo 9?
Yeah.
Really good one for between 18 and 22.
All right, I'll write you down for 18 then.
Yeah.
And then so next segment here, we got the mid-size or executive, as they say in Europe. So the mid category, I went with kind of an offbeat pick here, like you do. And I had to kind of bend the rules a little bit, and I chose a 2014 Cadillac ELR. Now I know this is a 2-door, but it's still technically a mid-size car. But I really
because it still takes up 2 parking spots.
No, only if you're charging through one parking spot. Yeah, so the ELR is basically a gussied up Vault, and I actually went and I spent a lot of money on this one. I spent another $24,000 on this car.
Well, Joe, you're gonna hate my choice then.
Well, the other choice there, I was looking at CTSVs, so I'm hoping that somebody picks something like
CTSV
that.
is much closer to a full size though than it is a mid size.
I don't know. It can straddle both.
Isn't
I'd give
the
it
ATS
both.
technically the smaller of the two? So that would
The
fall in that
ATS
category.
Yeah.
The ATS is more of a mid size. CTS is
I
more
could
full
see.
size.
But they both kind of straddle. It depends. I'm all for straddling these
All right,
borders.
Chris, what is it though? What you got?
Oh, well, it's easy. It's a first gen Volt because you can buy those off lease out here with less than 50,000 miles for like $9,000.
There you go. Another good
So-
choice, Chris.
I'm gonna give you guys a heads up right now. None of the cars I picked were electric. None of them were even hybrid. So just get that out of your mind right now.
Well, I mean, we were building a garage, Patrick. We're building a friggin' garage.
I know how
Don't
to
you-
work on these. I don't know how to work on those.
They're the same, but with
They're
batteries.
Not difficult. Yeah, they're not.
Oh
difficult.
man. Okay, so what did you pick, Patrick?
E39 M5.
Good choice.
So
that is.
we both basically picked cars that you never have to do any work on whatsoever because they're famously overbuilt. And Patrick picked the overbuilt car that needs all of the babying that you could ever possibly need to put into a German car.
So how much did you find your E39 M5 for?
17 grand.
Oh shit! So you bought a
That's gonna
basket
be a-
case? You bought a
he's-
basket case?
I bought a 4-door leather seated burnout machine. That's what I bought.
Patrick's gonna have to spend another 15 grand to make it actually function on a regular basis.
Oh, probably, but that wasn't the question here. It was, could we get this car in the garage for us to work on throughout the year for cheap enough? And the answer is yes. Yes, you can.
You know what? This actually is a great choice, Patrick. And the reason it is because I picked one of those for my full size cars, and I know
did
that. Yeah, I originally for my full size car I had a $1,900 Lincoln Stretch with like 300,000 miles.
I
on
looked
it.
for a stretch.
I found one on eBay for like $1,900.
All right, hold on. So did you pick that for any of your
I
segment?
couldn't. There was no way for me to fit it in. I was like,
luxury. I'm just gonna jump into it. Luxury. I picked a Lincoln Continental or Lincoln Town Car.
I love it. So I guess that E39 M5, the one I picked though was $46,000 because I wanted a mint.
Yeah, you wanted
one.
a mint. You wanted a cherry.
I wanted it cherry. It has like no miles on it. Everything's meticulously maintained. One owner. I was like, we're gonna have the nicest M5 because that is just
Nope.
perfect.
Missile
Nope.
M5.
Well, now we have a parts car for 17 grand.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Fair enough. That's perfect.
You just both
So-
proved to me that down deep you're masochists.
I think you already knew that,
ELR.
Chris.
I have the ELR
True.
and the Golf R, right? Like I have those. I don't need anything special.
No, because like the Evo wasn't bulletproof. I used to have to do stuff to it all the time, but mostly it was tires and brakes because I burnt through them so much. Like the E35 is one of those ones where you're constantly going to have to figure out why it's misfiring.
But the Continental.
Nope, the Continental has its Achilles heel in its brakes because the car is 7 million pounds and the brakes are way too fucking small, so you warp them in an afternoon.
So
But- You float on a cloud and you're in giant lazy boy leather seats and you
Okay,
can fit
so-
17 bodies in the trunk. That's luxury.
Clearly,
how
you
much did
guys
that one
have.
cost?
I'm sorry. The M5 was 17 grand. The Lincoln Continental was 8 grand.
oh yeah, but what year was that?
The last year that they made it.
So like 2002 or something like that. Okay.
no,
all right.
2006. 2006.
Okay. All right. So Chris, what's your full size luxury? Is it like an S class? I was trying to work in like an AMG saloon, like estate or something. What?
Well,
give me something
what's the next
interesting.
after full size again? I'm trying to recall.
So full size after
Is-
full
is
size, it goes
luxury.
minivan
Yeah.
or
So,
van.
I mean, full size. There's two ways to go on this. There's the smart one, which would just be go get yourself an Equus for $12,000,
Very good. Yes,
or
that's a
you
great.
could do what I did and go get yourself a current generation CTSV for 60.
So
Oh my
there you go.
God.
Drop it, dude. Great choice.
Yeah,
'Cause
it makes sense.
The full size cars are there's so much in them. They can do everything nowadays. So
yeah, including eat all of the gas in the world. Yeah.
That's why you have the Vault in your midsize category. You got two Chevys.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, you do.
Or well, sort of. I mean, the Caddy's not a Chevy.
Okay.
But, yeah. GM. Anyway. So that's $60K in the used market. So
that's pretty good. I think that's a great choice. I would definitely pick that for the category. If
I would go for rides in that car. That would be fine.
I'd go for a ride. I mean, we could get groceries in that. Whatever. So now we're getting to the real fun segments. We have minivan, sports car, SUV, and pickup coming up. So for your van or minivan, what did you guys pick? I'm very interested.
I want Chris to go first.
On the van?
Chris.
Yeah, just because we've gone first.
I give so little of a shit out of it, and I just go any van that can be purchased for under $1,000 on Craigslist.
So $1,000 Craigslist van. Do you know what happens to $1,000 Craigslist van, Chris?
Yeah, they become heaping piles of rust in my backyard as I don't care about it.
I'm gonna write that down. 1K Craigslist fine.
I'm Patrick, sitting there right next to him in an 05 Dodge Caravan for $1,000.
You guys, I knew you guys were going to skimp out on the van life.
Listen, the reason I even chose that was Mr. and Mrs. Smith, because those doors are handy.
Oh my God. I would like to invite you all into my absolutely stunning
candy van.
2009 Ford E-Series.
Yeah.
It's an E350 Super Duty. It's also a mini camper. And it cost me $34,000.
Now,
but that costs 18 with a handshake. Why that much?
Well, because it's converted into a really, really nice place to live and be, and it also has all-wheel drive. It's a one-owner van, and it has the Tommy van build.
Did you get a handy in that Vandy?
You can do anything in that.
So here's the question, Joe. Does it smell like your current van, and your current van being a smell between a man having sex with a horse and a pizza delivery guy having sex with a horse?
Oh, I thought you were going to say a horse having sex with a man.
Patrick found the joke. Guys, I'm serious. Like, look at this.
You could have spent 20 grand on a better Honda for that. Like,
Wrong. So wrong. You guys in your $1,000 vans, you'll be begging to be in my 350.
Our van is a parts van. You throw shit in there and you don't care if the back suspension blows out.
My van is a luxury vehicle with and it's also raised too. This isn't this van could do anything. Anyway, so I'm very proud of my van pick. I blew a substantial part of my budget on
I'm
this
kind of
van.
surprised that you didn't go like Japanese businessman with a luxury like Previa or something to that effect.
Jumbo Isuzu truck or something.
The thought that crossed my mind was actually there was a special version of the Ford Flex that was made that actually had the rear was basically like a first class cabin on an Air Emirates flight minus the shower.
I find it a stretch to call the Flex a van though, because it looks much more truck like.
Yeah, it could probably work with SUV, but it fills such a similar slot as a van. But anyway, so those are the things that crossed my mind. I was looking for Quigley's; they were too expensive, so I found this one at $34,000.
Okay, so to recap, what are our totals up to right now?
You are at Chris. You are at $113,000, and Patrick is at $49,000, and I am. About $100,000. I'm a little over 100.
Oh yeah, frugal over here.
I'm actually very close to $200,000 actually. So, your Dodge Caravan, $1,000.
All
right, so the next one's a really interesting spot to be because there's so many different options in it. It's the sports car.
Yeah, this one was tough.
There's so many different ways you can do it. You can go super nice, you can do super old, you can do all kinds of stuff. What did you guys pick? Patrick, what'd you pick?
I picked an 06 Pontiac GTO.
Okay. Pontiac GTO. Now, why did you go with that? There's so many options in the world.
There are so many options in the world, and part of the issue was that there were so many options. I got overwhelmed pretty quickly, and I didn't want to. I was still aiming to get within this budget, so I was trying to think of cars that I could get a lot of power for, had a good frame. I always loved them. Watching Reese Millen drifting around back in the day, that's what got me into that car to begin with. Chris owned one, so he knows the benefits of some of the mods you do on it. Really change
literally know how to build everything into a proper car. Yeah.
Well, and because you went with the 06, you got the 6 liter.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Well, the 6 liter came in 05.
Did it? Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. 04 was the 5.7
LS1, and then 05 got the LS2. That was the most significant change. And then 06 got some tail light changes and wheel changes, and that was about it.
But so how much does one of those go for nowadays?
17 grand.
Whoa, you're buying a nice one. I could find a few around here for cheaper than that.
The good ones are not sliding any further south. That's basically where they've been for the last
this is like a bare minimum where it's actually going to run long enough for me to start doing some stuff to it.
Yeah, great. I think that's a great choice.
And I wanted something because I love the older Caymans. I love that old classic, almost Batmobile, seat right over the rear axle, long nose cars, but they don't make a lot of them right now that are really nice or that I can get into for less than, 60, 70 grand. So This was a way for me to have a little bit of both. And then simultaneously it's 6 liters. So burn tires and go sideways.
I like it. Good pick. Chris, what'd you pick?
So I picked a 997.2 GT3.
Okay, so there's where you blew.
I would say I would go C8 would be an entertaining option, but I don't care about the C8 until the Z06 is out or the Grand Sport, because the base model, I just don't care. I've had vets. I don't want a base model, period. So
how much can you get one of those for nowadays?
About 97,000.
Ooh, yeah, that's gonna soak up a lot of your.
Yeah, that puts me up to 210.
Yeah, you're at 210 now. So, SUV and pickup, I don't. I whatever. Okay, so
just blowing past the budget.
The thing is, the 997, it does everything. I get it. That's a great pick, but that's just such a big part of the budget. I was trying to work in a 991 manual, but I just ended up saying, you know what is a sports car? And I went down to the most interesting pick that I could have picked for this area, and I chose an NSX, a 2000 or actually not even. I went 1995 NSX for $36,000. This one's in really good shape.
Still 36. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it has the 5-speed. It's the manual, and instead of the 6-speed. But I just think this NSX was just such a high watermark for driver-focused vehicles that really just make you appreciate the sports car class. It's mid-engine. I didn't have any other mid-engine picks in here. Mm-hmm. So that's why I wanted to go with it. Just so
it'll appreciate in value. The only complaints I have with the first-gen NSX are the steering wheel is huge, and it's not super direct, in that it's fairly boosted, and it's not. There's a lot of turns lock to lock.
See, I could believe that. I haven't driven one, but I didn't know enough to go with the first or second gen. I still feel like
second is just better.
But just, you could still find a second gen NSX for $37,000 still.
I don't
for whatever
particularly
reason.
Like the pop-up headlights, so I would totally go with the second. So
yeah, I like the pop-up headlights, as I have my Miata staring right back at me right now. So I needed to put a thing with pop-up headlights that actually played into my decision-making process.
Yeah,
I was 6-speed with sharper handling or pop-up headlights.
Or one pop-up headlight because the other one's going to flop.
Well, and here's the other thing, is that car does not make a ton of power. The NSX is not very fast. A Camry is faster now.
Yeah, but that's that. I think that misses the point of what a sports car really is. I think the sports car is just about an engaging driving experience. So, we have we're all going to get hypercars. Why worry about a sports car, right?
Yeah, it's. But when we talk about that, I mean, it's just those are the only downsides to the NSX. But my point being is that on the first gen NSX, the pop-up headlights, you can feel it slow the car down a bit when you pop them up on the highway. So
it's like an air brake on a fighter plane. It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
You use it as a strategy to slow down.
Chris's 997 is the best car on this list, I think, so far, as far as like driving and just being a good car. But we'll see what happens in this SUV category coming next. And since I haven't went first, I'm just going to go first on this
skipped one.
Wait,
didn't you? Yeah, there was sports car and then there was supercar.
I don't can't do a supercar for anywhere near any of this money, though. That's the problem.
Patrick, what did you put for your supercar?
2011 Audi R8 V10.
Yeah, wow. Oh, that's a good choice, but I don't have supercar on my list.
What?
Yeah, that's what
Patrick
I was looking
at category.
Oh no, I added my own category real quick. Sorry.
You know what?
That.
No, it's cool because I was wondering like where, because you're only at 66,000 right now.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm like, where's all this money gonna go?
Right there, $82,000.
Well, I'm gonna put it in.
I swear that there was there was sports car and supercar, but
you know what, Patrick, you can have them both. You can have that, and I'm gonna just plus that on here, and you can have them both.
Thanks.
There you go.
Appreciate it. It is a Christmas miracle.
It is. You know what? And also, I want an R8 in the garage too. So, yeah. So great. I mean, 82,000 plus 17,000. That's, I mean, what some math.
And here's the thing: is if you wait 6 months to a year, the car will be worth 54,000 because the market on mid-engined, formerly supercars, is completely dropping out once the C8 hits the market.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that. I like those discounts.
So that's the reality. So in other words, you're psychotic if you buy one right now, because they're going to lose about 20 to 30K in value over the course of the next year. So
I don't know. I mean, like for $100,000 though, for those two cars, I still think it's a good pick.
Oh yeah, good cars.
Or 99,000.
They'll be worth 30% to 40% less in a year.
So wait, did you find one with the gated transmission or whatever, the manual transmission?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Man.
And that was a V8, correct?
No, that was 10.
Okay. 10. Okay.
Yeah. No, I specifically wanted the 10.
It's
the V8's pointless if you can get the 10. So
yeah. I still think it's a cool car. I think it looks good. You see it in the Iron Man movie. Like, come on, that's great.
I like those.
I was driving down the highway once to a car show, and I saw this beautiful, beautiful track built one, and it was so clean I couldn't handle myself. I would followed him out of my way for a solid 20 miles.
Just to look at it?
Just to look at it, because he had a couple little tweaks that, like, it was still a street car, so it had to pass some kind of highway bullshit, but it sounded great. It looked beautiful. I just wanted it to be my car.
Okay. I like it. I think it's a good pick. So what did you pick for your SUV then?
I got a Volvo XC90.
Oh, oh God.
Wait, why you hate them, Joe? But they are super luxurious.
They're great cars, but do you see how cheap they are? There's a reason they're so cheap.
I found one for $35,000.
$35,000 for an XC. I mean, XC90s are great, but used XC90s scare me. What year is this one?
This one was the 2016.
Okay, you're okay. That's gonna be fine for a while.
Oh no, my son.
So yeah, XC90. I love that interior.
Well, what was that initial reaction? Why'd you feel like
for whatever reason my brain went back to like the early 2010s XC90s, and I thought you were gonna cheap out and get like one for like $6,300 off of like we approve everybody car lot kind of thing, and I was like, oh God, those are terrible.
No, because the option with SUV is, do you want something that is like a Land Rover that is, you know, a big piece of technology that does work and actually goes off-roading and you can drive it? Do you get a Jeep, which is basically just a hammer? Like, what do you want in an SUV? And that one was a combination of, I knew it would function well in my area, which is snow and ice and gravel and shit. But then at the same time, it was a reliable enough vehicle that if I did fuck it up, like it would still run.
Right. No, I see and it. Like just looking at how much you've spent, like you spent a decent amount on that car, so that this is going to be like your grocery getter. This is going to be like your main ride when things go bad. Like, or
that's actually like, my next one. My pickup choice is the end all be all saver of all of these vehicles.
Okay. All right. It better be a bro dozer. Chris, what did you pick for your SUV?
It would be any Honda CRV between the range of $400 and $800.
I'm gonna put you at 1 billion
miles on them.
I'm gonna put you at 400, and that would be a 1999 CRV. But we'll get you the 5-speed manual. They're great to drive. It definitely is gonna need new CV joints.
Don't care, because again, I'm not really gonna drive it. You know, that's a if the mood strikes me sort of thing, or I feel as though I need to go take a car through an open field and do dumb shit. That's entirely what that's for.
It's very interesting that we've gone on very polar opposites of why we would get an SUV. One is out of obligation, and the other one is out of form because we need it and function.
The only reason I would have it is because it was required on the list.
The 2001 CRV was one of my favorite cars I've ever owned. It had a snappy little transmission. I have nothing but respect for the car. I wish it was chain driven, so I never had to worry about a belt, and the thing would have lasted forever. But my SUV choice is a spitting image of the OJ Bronco. Mm-hmm. It is a supercharged, though. Supercharged. It has a 392 392 in it. And it has Flowmasters, a dual exhaust, a larger gas tank so it can go farther.
We do not do Flowmaster on this podcast. It is exclusively a MagnaFlow show.
Okay, well, I'll convert it over. to MagnaFlow. That's cool with me. But yeah, so it's a supercharged like police Bronco that is in really great shape with only 156,000 miles on it. And it actually has the speedometer from an F-150 Ford Lightning. So,
bonus.
Yeah, I just want to let you guys know. Definitely worth the $14,000 I'm going to spend to get this.
I can't wait for you to park that behind your candy van.
that van, yeah, they go together. They definitely they're a pair. I feel like I've picked a lot of Ford trucks, but I can't help it. I'm indoctrinated from the area. So in the pickup section, what'd you guys pick?
Chris, what do you got?
So here's my pick is that I will take any S10 pre-1990 because here's what it is. And this is where I make up for things. People will pay me to haul it off their yard.
You know what? Okay. I think somebody might give you $100 to get rid of it.
Yeah, probably.
Mm-hmm. So, and it's not because I hate those. It's just because those of that era are junk. So, yeah.
If it's still around, like you could actually make money. Like, it's okay. How about this? They'll actually, you can get $100 in scrap for it. So really, you made $200 on that one. That S10. Mm-hmm. Great Pretty job, much. Chris.
Yeah, you got some of that money back.
Over, you know, that's my MO anyway when I buy cars.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah, you just got lunch. Perfect.
Yeah, I'll take that. Patrick, what's your pickup pick?
So I had a tough time because I was just in a Toyota dealership recently and saw the new Tacoma Pro. That thing is nice and a lot bigger of a towing capacity than I thought it would. But my choice is one that I know can tow much bigger than what it says, and that's a 2015 Nissan Frontier.
A Frontier, all right.
Yes.
Wait, so why the Frontier? I was actually just looking at one of those the other days, and I'm like, you don't see too many of them, but man, I kind of like how beefy they look. They kind of look like an overstuffed ravioli.
You also live in Michigan, which is, you know, you just don't see much of anything foreign.
Right.
No, you see a fair number.
I fell in love with the Frontier a while back. I wanted to get one because a bunch of us, when we used to work at Source, took a couple trucks out to the desert and the salt flats and drove them around. and a Raptor got beached on a dune. And
I was going to say, I remember somebody destroyed a truck, right?
No, no one destroyed a truck. They did beach it though, and I used the Frontier to de-beach the truck. So it was fantastic. It has a snub nose, so when you're going down hills or anything like that, you don't have to worry about crushing the front end of your nose.
Correct me if I'm wrong. That was done the wrong way, if you will.
It was done unintentionally, but then turned out to be a benefit. Yeah. But it was a shorter wheelbase to begin with.
I mean, it was done the wrong way.
Oh, no, actually, it wasn't the wrong way as much as
I have no idea what you two are referring to, and
but ultimately, so the Frontier is a manual transmission as well, so it was just something that seemed perfect for that.
That's okay, nice. How much you get it for?
I'll give you what it was, Joe. Is I was asking if it was Blake wrong because Blake used to work with Patrick, and
he burned transmissions and up cars, and
I have to say. Blake. He's a great follow on Instagram, though. Posts a lot about cats and foods and sobs. So really into. I really respect his Instagram.
Yeah, page. I mean, Blake is. Blake may have just crested 30, but he has the blog subject matter of a 64-year-old retired architect from Connecticut.
But the tenacity of a 17-year-old cam girl, like. He's going hard. His Instagram content. Yeah. Okay. 18 could make it legal. But he's really, really into it. And he has great content. Anyway, enough about Blake. Never met him. I feel like I've known him because his posts are so involved. So how much is a Frontier nowadays?
19,300.
19,000. Oh, that's more expensive. That's actually the most expensive of the trucks because I found on eBay a salvage title Ford Raptor for a hair under 16 grand.
And I was walk slightly.
Yo, it's in two pieces.
It's actually fully restored.
Bubble gum together.
I'm telling you, this Raptor is fully restored. You don't have to worry about it. It's a salvage title.
Wait, you didn't buy this from Tyler, did you?
It might have been one that was beached or broken. I'm not sure.
Oh my god!
But I can tell you that the dealership has put everything on this post saying that it is totally drivable. It's a very good car, and I tend to believe them for this $15,900.
You're gonna get $15,000 worth of bent rods.
Mm-hmm. I don't care. I would still have a Raptor, and it. And
okay, my Frontier can pull you out. It's fine.
And I have a Frontier, and maybe
Plus, I already have the Silverado, so that's why I went with the Frontier.
Yeah, you have a Silverado.
See, this is why he has the E350 because he can take the drivetrain out of the E350 to fix the obviously blown engine and transmission that'll be in that Raptor.
So. According to the dealership, it's totally cool, and I believe them.
So sweet.
So actually, looking at the totals here, we are all pretty close.
I lost obviously because I'm over.
Yeah, you're 210,000.
That's it. I'm surprised.
Yeah, Patrick, I added yours up. You're 199,300.
Oh, I'm less than I thought I was.
And maybe I added something up wrong, but and because I'm the only one with the list in the calculator right now, I was $96 over the 2019 thing, and that's why I was like, this Raptor's perfect.
Patrick wins.
He was under.
I was supposed to lose because I tabulated that I got 2020. I had 202,000, but
here's where I'm actually going to come in and go, look, I practice restraint versus my usual buying practices because I always promise myself I'll spend X amount and then I always spend 10 to 15% more.
You did.
I always convince myself to upgrade. I always do.
So yeah, to my best efforts, I was pretty happy with my garage. I did go over. Patrick, you're the winner.
Yay!
So what's your hypercar pick, Patrick?
That's a tough one. That one I really had the hardest time because There's cars you want, there's cars you dreamed about, but I think if I actually had to pick a genuine hypercar to mess around with, it'd probably be something like the Ferrari F12 Berlinetta or the California Berlinetta.
Are those hypercars or supercars? It's hard to figure. That's the thing.
I don't
like,
even consider that a hypercar anymore, to be honest.
Because the Conan's eggs exist, you know.
Right,
Yeah, you've got. I mean, you've got a world of.
Then I got to step up my game. All right,
right. That's what I'm saying. It's crazy.
When we're in a world of McLarens and Koenigsegg's and Pagani, and there's you've got to shoot up a little bit. So,
but the thing is, I mean, the section is basically for anybody to pick anything. So, I mean, you could pick whatever you want. I'm not going to knock you.
Well, let's hear yours, and maybe I'll make like the Italian Job and steal both your ideas.
Well, I mean, it's really hard to pick, but I feel like at this junction, for me it was between the AMG 1 and the SF90, the Ferrari, and but neither of those are coming out in 2019, so I had to kind of go back and try to find something that was like out, and I don't know, I don't really have. I would probably pick whatever Koenigsegg is the best Koenigsegg, because they're great.
I mean, Koenigsegg is a very different manufacturer than Koenigsegg. Koenigsegg is produced entirely by Conan O'Brien. All of the cars are
Conan's egg, yes. Mm-hmm. How can you say it correctly for me?
Koenigsegg.
Koenigsegg.
Koenigsegg, yes.
I can't say it, but yeah. So I don't know. I'm in the same thing. Chris, you know about expensive things. Tell me about
this is a category where I can pull 6 of them off the top of my head. But
okay, so what is your hypercar? What is my hypercar? What's Patrick's hypercar?
Okay, so Patrick's hypercar, I'm gonna go with. He's probably gonna be more of like a. I would say. Well, let me start with you, Joe. You're going to definitely probably be a Koenigsegg 1-to-1.
Okay, I dig it.
Patrick, I'm thinking for you, because you love all-wheel drive rally cars, right? And I know you don't like this. I know you're not particularly a fan of this mark, but I think you'd make an exception for this one. A 959. Exceptionally rare, built for Dakar, crazy rally car. It's very
in a
much
Sega video game.
Mm-hmm. Insanely valuable.
That's definitely up there on the list of, that'll pucker up your butthole as you're driving it around.
Yeah, and then mine is of course, it's a car that's out of production, but only out of production in so much that if you wave enough money in front of Pagani and Horatio Pagani, he'll build one for you, and that is any conventional, Pagani.
You can't say conventional and Pagani in the same sentence.
Really.
It's.
I feel like that. I feel like that is a
it's
a really good choice.
It's a Zonda R, right?
Okay.
Because there's like. He's done various versions of it. All of these later ones have all been crazy performance ones. Like he built one for, I believe, for Lewis Hamilton. There have been a few of them. So like the power numbers keep going up. But the Zonda R's, that base right there is fantastic. I'm not even usually a big V12 guy, and that motor makes one of the most beautiful noises in all of motorsport. If I was to pick something more modest, it'd probably be a Carrera GT, but Zonda R is definitely where it's at, and it's probably going to cost you a good $6 or $7 million. So,
yeah, they're very expensive. Turns out, Lexus makes like a budget hypercar, don't they?
Well, I mean, you had the LFA.
Like
and the LFA I love, but I don't know if I could call it a hypercar. Because
I know, right?
No, that one was just a screaming banshee.
It was, but like just the production numbers and how special it was for Lexus. I was trying to pick the out there choice of hypercars, but you can go with Noble, like N600s and all
Nobles
this like crazy
stuff. Nobles are not hypercars. That's the thing.
They're not.
They're not even super expensive. They're not cheap, but they're not super expensive.
See,
you can buy used Nobles for $80,000, no problem.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea. See, I live in the the lower rungs of
What's
the
Lambo's
automotive.
got in hypercars these days, if anything?
I mean, if you want to get into Lamborghini, you could get into like what was it? Not the Centurion. But I mean, some of their one-off stuff that are basically variants of
Like a
the
Veneno.
Aventadors. Yeah, yeah, those kind of things. But those
I'm
are
just trying
really
to. The reason I asked, I'm just trying to think of actual hypercar makers these days, because you have a couple that are really built into the hybrid world. Then you have your Paganis and your Koenigsegg's, but then the rest of them are like that. They're a Lambo or Ferrari that's kind of built up.
You've got Paganis and Koenigsegg's. I would argue the top end of McLaren's lineup is always the hypercar, because they're always stupid fast.
That's probably right.
And then,
AMG, they're doing the 1-to-1. Ferrari has their big ones.
Yeah,
I thought,
Ferrari produces hypercars, that's for sure.
Every once in a while,
Porsche will too. I mean,
yeah,
959s.
I like how none of us picked Bugatti though at any point.
I
appreciate that.
I don't feel any sort of connection to any of the Bugattis for whatever reason. I understand they're like, when I'm sitting there looking at them, I'm obviously I've never driven one, but just so you have to look at them as like a piece of art, or this rolling tribute to speed, which I really enjoy the story behind it. But just looking at the car, it doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't stir any part of my soul.
I think it doesn't scream hypercar.
When you when you see them in real life in traffic, they just stick out so much. That's the thing with the Bugatti, is it's a statement of like, hey, check this cool thing out that's like an alien machine.
Okay.
And the other thing too, when you see them in person amongst other cars, is they are way smaller than you'd think they'd be.
See, I had the opposite reaction when I saw I haven't seen the new, what is it, Chiron, whatever. But I have been right next to a Veyron and a couple of times, but it was in the company of other hyper and supercars. So I was just like, yeah, okay, whatever. So maybe I think it would be a lot more special if I saw one in traffic. I'd probably be a lot more excited. But
in movement on the street, it's like, oh, what is this doing here? It makes no sense.
I believe you. So my math might be wrong, but I still think Patrick wins. I don't have much else to say, guys, other than I hope your 2019 was great. I hope your 2020 is much better than 2019.
Right back at you. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a busy year, that's for damn sure. Patrick and I have been working together for the last year on some stuff, and it's been quite taxing at times. So 2019 was a slog, that's for sure.
Slog. You have any resolutions for the new year?
I don't do resolutions because I find them silly. It's just, I think that, it's people that fool themselves into thinking goals can be accomplished by attaching an arbitrary date to them.
My resolution is to never ask Chris another question like that.
My resolution is to beat resolutions into Chris.
Yeah, it's just one of those silly things. If you look, the classic one is, I'm going to go do the gym more. Well, then don't wait until New Year's.
No, make that choice every day. Do it now. Make that choice daily.
Do it now.
I just feel so good about myself. I don't really need to go. There's a huge problem,
Joe.
I've embraced myself.
Joe and his content and happy life with his wife and child.
This happens. Now, if I can only get that van. I just want that van. I just need to save up $34,000 and I can buy the van of my dreams.
Real quick, before we sign off, you haven't told us about this Mercedes that you got your hands on fairly recently.
This is all for another time. I have van updates. I have E500 updates. I have updates of all sorts, but I think we're just going to have to let it lie until we come back around.
Little teaser for next time.
I'm going to throw something out as like our sign off that like you guys endorse, but I don't fully. So just hit me with it at this point.
Chris, I actually wanted to give it to you this time around because we've done ours. I want to hear a 2020 cap, 2019, 2020 cap from Chris. How are we going to end it?
How are we gonna end it?
How about always use your blinker? Don't drink the Kool-Aid, or drink our Kool-Aid only.
Sure. Fuel Cult in 2020. Drink our Kool-Aid.
Fuel Cult.
Disregard everything else in your life.
Tastes
Yeah,
good.
Don't drink anybody else's Kool-Aid. Drink our Kool-Aid.
Mhm.
It's also a lubricant.
Fuel Cult. No.
That's it.
Thanks for listening, everybody.